Rigby's Roads, Chapter 11, Mistaken Identity, Bugs and Dots. Jack told Yogi to stay upstairs until after the FBI leaves. When they arrived, Jack told them about the plight of the bag. Upon hearing about the bag's new unknown adventure, the agents looked more scared than upset. They said they had already reported up the chain of command that they were finally bringing the bag in. Now they would surely be reprimanded. Jack suggested, "Can't you go to Sturgis and just wait for Pinky?" "Jack, do you think Blythe and I can ride into Sturgis and simply blend in? Do you have a picture of Pinky? A description? A last name? Are we looking for a Mr. Pinky? Come on, Jack. You're not giving us a lot of help here." He tried to reassure them. "Look, the Sturgis bike rally is in 2 weeks. Pinky will be there. End of story." Patterson raised his voice in frustration. "That's not good enough, Jack. Do you think the president, who's already been informed that we have the bag, will understand that now he has to wait a few more weeks while some biker named Pinky finishes his summer vacation? We're looking to get reassigned to the Louisiana swamps for the rest of the summer, then off to Alaska for the winter. I can guarantee you one thing. If we go down, surprise, you're going down with us. It's that simple." Jack tried to give them the rolls of scratch-off tickets, but they refused, citing too much paperwork. His plan to turn them in today was now postponed. As they started to leave, Blythe pushed Jack in the chest, and he fell back into the living room chair. Blythe put his hands on the chair arms and brought his face to within inches of Jack's. "You better find that bag, or I'll see to it that your cellmate is the last lover he'll ever know." After the FBI left, Yogi and Jack sat on the front porch and reviewed the FBI story over and over again, looking for loopholes and things that didn't fit. Everything made sense, except one line that Jack remembered. "Then we stumbled upon some information that led us to you." What did they mean by stumbled upon some information? Yogi reminded him, "They were here Wednesday night, right? The FBI was in this house for, 3 or 4 minutes?" "Yeah, so?" Yogi's eyes got big. "Uh-oh." Jack saw the concerned look on Yogi's face. "What is it?" Yogi brought his finger to his lips and gave the shh sign and whispered, "Don't say another word." Yogi jumped up from the front porch chair and went inside, and Jack followed. Yogi moved down on his hands and knees and started crawling around the living room, looking under the dining room table, and then running his hand underneath the table, feeling for bugs. Jack caught on right away and joined in on the search and started with the table lamps. They continued to examine each piece of furniture carefully. Yogi stopped and said in a normal voice, "So Jack, I took care of your dog problem today." And he gave an exaggerated nod at Jack, as if to say, "Continue talking, but talk about nothing." Jack understood and restated in a slow, loud voice, "Oh, really? Yogi, how did you do that?" Yogi started laughing and crawled over to him and whispered in his ear, "Talk normal, will you? They're not deaf and dumb. They're the FBI. Talk normal." Jack nodded at Yogi and then repeated in a normal voice, "Oh, really, Yogi? How did you do that?" Yogi burst out laughing, but tried to keep quiet by putting his hand over his mouth. He put a music CD in his computer and cranked it up to drown out any further conversations. After 30 minutes of crawling around, searching for bugs, they sat back, rubbing their sore knees, looking at each other. Jack waved Yogi over to the computer, and Jack started typing. "How can we be sure we didn't?" Yogi suddenly grabbed Jack's hand to stop him from typing another word. He pointed down to the right side of the computer. Jack leaned over and looked, but had no idea what he was pointing to. Jack shrugged his shoulders in a "what" fashion. Yogi put his finger right on the desk next to a line of dust that ran at an angle from the computer cabinet. Then he grabbed the computer and turned it until the cabinet matched the dust line. He peered his head around the back, and his eyes grew bigger with the discovery. He grabbed Jack's arm and urged him to walk outside to the backyard. They ventured all the way to the back fence, and Yogi spoke first. "The FBI has an HKL on me." Jack looked at Yogi, opened his hands outward, and was waiting for a definition. Yogi explained, HKL is a hardware keystroke logger. Jack extended his arms out again. What the hell is that? Yogi continued. It's an adapter between the keyboard and the PC. It logs every keystroke, every word I type, and sends them to a remote user. The FBI figured a bug would only catch us in conversation, but an HKL would log every keystroke and give them a better picture of what we were interested in or researching. I'll bet they were going to bug us for sound, but their priority was on linking to the computer first, and then we surprised them and shortened their visit. Jack's next question was an obvious one. Can you remember everything you typed since the night they broke in? I've got a general idea, but I don't think that has anything to do with them approaching you. The question is, what led them to you before they broke in? Jack started brainstorming out loud. FBI, me, top secret clearance, Patel, military secrets. Damn, Yogi, they traced you back here while you were hacking into my government files. I don't think so, Yogi answered in an unsure tone. Think again, Jack said in an expressive voice. What's the one link from the FBI to me? He pointed back at the house. The computer, and then he pointed to Yogi. And you were searching my files at a top secret government think tank, weren't you? Well, yes and no. What do you mean, yes and no? Yes, I was looking at your files, and Yogi paused, not wanting to finish the sentence. Jack grew impatient and expressed, and what? And I also wanted to see if I could hack into their other programming. Well, that's it. You had to go one step beyond, didn't you? You had to push the envelope. You had to pick that one cherry at the very top of the tree. Had to experiment with... Yogi interrupted him. Pick the one cherry, Jack? Is that a secret government term? He looked at Yogi and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Let's get back in there and take that logger thing off. Yogi shook his head forcefully. No, then they'll know we're onto them. We have to leave it there, and I'll be careful of what I type. I'll get my friend Snoop to come over and have him do a complete sweep for bugs. Hello! Oh. Henry had fallen out of the tree above them, onto a pile of compost near the fence line. Jack and Yogi looked at each other, and then at Henry on the ground. Jack spoke first. Henry, are you all right? Yeah, I'm okay. The branches broke my fall. What the hell are you doing climbing a tree after what happened yesterday? I can't feel a thing. Vicodin. I just love that stuff. They both looked up at the tree. Henry had tied bright red ribbons around different tree branches towards the top of the tree. Now he was rolling in the compost, awkwardly, trying to get up. He had a hat on that said, I used to be schizophrenic, but now we're okay. He stood up and excitedly asked, Hey, can I borrow your chainsaw? What? Absolutely not, Jack yelled back. I can put up with you drilling holes in your body, collecting contusions, and even broken bones, but I can't be an accomplice to dismemberment. What the hell are you doing up there? I'm getting a satellite dish, and the signal path would run right to the top of this tree. Henry pointed to his ribbons, marking the needed cuts. So I'm going to make a few cuts here and there, and make a clear path to the linkage space. Yogi smiled and brought his hand to his face and scratched the side of his head, as if he was in deep thought. Henry, I see your electric meter is on this side of your house. It's been my experience that if you put the dish on the same side as your electric meter, it can cause ghost shadows on your TV if the barometric pressure and weather patterns are in a certain range. I would suggest putting the dish on the other side of the house to avoid that. I can help you with that if you want. Just let me know when you're ready. Henry turned and looked at the other side of the house. Actually, that might make it easier since our TV is on that side. I won't have to drill any holes in the walls. Just link the cable to the rooms. Thanks, Yogi. As they walked back to the house, they were silent until they reached the back porch, out of Henry's earshot. Jack turned to Yogi. Do you think he heard us talking about... I don't know, Jack. But the question is, if he did hear us, did he understand it? And will he keep his mouth shut? If you ask him about it, I'm sure he's going to start asking questions. It might be better if we said nothing. He was at the very top of that tree. Maybe he didn't hear anything. Jack questioned Yogi's logic. You put your satellite dish on the same side as my electric meter. Won't that interfere with your reception? Jack, I made that up. Take a look at Henry's backyard. There is no tree on the other side of his yard. I made up some clever bullshit so he wouldn't have to turn that tree into a goalpost. And the idea of Henry with a chainsaw is way too scary for me. Yogi pulled out his phone and called Snoop and left a message that he needed his special services. His exact words were, I may have ears. Let's play hide and seek. Call me. Jack was worried. What are we going to do about talking in the house? Until Snoop does his thing, we talk normally. And by normal, I mean you don't have to talk slow and loud. Anytime you want some privacy, write a note on a piece of paper. But make sure that we shred it when we're done. They might be checking our garbage, and we can always come out here in the backyard and talk. Jack nodded slightly and said, I like the way you think on your feet, ad-libbing, able to go with the flow. That's a rare gift. Most people get flustered in situations like this. Yogi replied, Thanks, Jack. Life can be surprising at times, especially when you choose those other roads in life. You never know when you may get called up to the front of the line and have to perform on the spot. You have to be prepared, or at least have the balls to step up like you own the world. You never know when it'll happen. You just never know. The next day, Jack went for a morning ride. He needed to clear his mind. He rode to Bonnie's house, but her car was not there. So he headed up to the mountains. The gentle curves and cooler breezes seemed to put him in a calmer mood. He considered going to Sturgis, but he knew he would stand out like Patterson and Blythe. He was having second thoughts about how to return the stolen tickets. The only sure way that would keep him safe was to drop them off anonymously. He couldn't have his name linked to them, for it would surely arouse suspicion and get connected back to Luttrell somehow. He already had enough law enforcement on his ass. When he arrived back home, Yogi wasn't around. Jack went to see if Yogi was at Henry's helping him with his satellite dish. Henry said he hadn't seen Yogi since yesterday. Jack returned and sat on his front porch. A dog came down the street and made its way to the edge of his front lawn. And then a funny thing happened. The dog yelped, sneezed, and sneezed again, and ran off. You could hear him yelping all the way down the street. Cayenne pepper, came a voice nearby. Jack turned and saw Jerry, the kid next door. What did you say? Cayenne pepper. First we raked up all the dog shit, and there was a lot of it. It filled a garbage bag. I have it in my garage. You want to see? No thanks, Jack replied with a smirk on his face. Oh well, then Yogi and I sprinkled the cayenne pepper all over your front lawn. It works great. I'll bet you'll never have another dog shit on your lawn again. Jack chuckled. Wow. And then he asked Jerry, have you seen Yogi? Yeah, he left with his motorcycle buddies. They had that devil heads and lightning on their jackets. He looked like he was sick or something. He was doubled over and they had to help him into a car. Jack, looking for specific details, inquired, Black car with devil head sticker in the rear window? Yeah, that's the one. Thanks, Jerry. Jack went inside and retrieved his Y-phone and brought it back outside, away from prying ears. He hit speed dial 50. Yeah. Wheels, it's me. The DTs took Yogi. It's the same guys who beat Henry up. I think they heard him.
I already know. They already called me and wanted to set up an exchange. The tickets for Yogi. I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to give them the tickets to get Yogi back.
I still have the tickets. The FBI wouldn't take them. Where are we going to meet for the exchange?
We'll meet in Sturgis in 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Why not now?
Don't know. I think they took Yogi out of town, and I'm sure they're going to pick his brain for some illegal business he can help them with. He'll be all right. He can take care of himself. He's a lot smarter than they are. Right now, I need the serial number ranges on the ticket rolls. They want me to call them with the numbers today so Yogi can start clearing them in the lotto system. But first we have another problem that's a little more complicated.
What's that?
I'm not quite sure how to say this. The day your neighbor was beaten up, did you still have a beard?
No, I shaved it off that morning. Why?
Well, he said they wanted to do the exchange in Sturgis, but it has to be with you, the goofy guy with the beard. If they see anybody else, the deal is off.
Wait a minute. I didn't have a... Oh, shit. Henry has a beard. They think Henry's me? That's why they beat him up. What are we going to do?
I know these guys. If they don't see Henry's face, then we won't get Yogi back. You're going to have to convince Henry to go to Sturgis with us. There is no other way.
Us? You mean I'm going too?
Yes, you'll have to. How else will we get Henry there?
This is getting worse and worse. I'll talk to him. I'm not sure what I'll say, but I need to come up with something. Jack had trouble sleeping again. Not only did he need to find the bag with the top secret microdots, but he also needed to be assured that the FBI would finally leave him alone. There was the kidnapping exchange, the tickets for Yogi, but first he had to convince Henry to go to Sturgis with him. The hard part was to convince him to make the exchange without telling Henry the real story. Jack went to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. Life doesn't get easier, does it? He sat down at the computer. The screensaver showed a cartoon of a stranded castaway with a long beard. The character was on a small island about 15 feet across with a single palm tree. Jack watched the guy fish and gather things that washed ashore. Even though he was isolated on that island in the middle of the nowhere, every few minutes something unexpected would happen to him. Jack felt exactly like that guy, stranded and at the mercy of an unexpected fate. He accidentally touched the mouse and the screensaver popped off, and a text box appeared on the screen. Inside the text box were tiny black dots, as small as a period at the end of a sentence. It looked like Morse code. Yogi had left a message, maybe his last words right before they took him. Jack looked closer at the screen. It appeared to be tiny dots with spaces between them. 3 dots, space, 4 dots, space. What kind of code is this? How can I break it? It's a hacker's code or a computer binary code made of sequential numbers. Jack took out a pencil and brought his face to within inches of the screen and started writing down the numbers. 3 dots, 4 dots, 6, 2, 8, 4, 5, 2, 2, 3, 5, 4. When he was done, he looked at the code. Is it a phone number? No, too many digits. Maybe it's longitude and latitude lines. Jack sat down at the computer and did a Google search for longitude and latitude. He found a site that was simple. You simply type in the coordinates and hit enter, but they needed directional endings, north, south, east, west. The first coordinates needed north or south numbers, while the second set needed east or west. 3 dots, 4 dots, that would be 34. 6 dots, 2, that's 62. 34 south, 62 east would be in the middle of the ocean, about 1,000 miles from land. Let's try 34 north, 62 west. More water. Okay, what about 34 north, 62 east, Herat, Afghanistan? Jack was sure the DT's motorcycle gang did not have a clubhouse in Afghanistan. Last combination, 34 south, 62 west, Santa Fe, Argentina. Nope, these are not longitude and latitude numbers. He sat back and stared at the screen. Yogi must have used this code knowing the FBI was monitoring his every keystroke. Maybe this code is for the FBI to see, something he knew they could decipher. Maybe there is a phone number hidden in the extra numbers. Maybe the phone number is written backwards, or every other number is the phone number, or every third one. Jack soon realized he could never figure it out. He began to appreciate the mathematical skills of the hacker community, having their own language and using secret codes that only they knew. How do these kids teach themselves something so complicated? It's mind-blowing. Jack looked out the door window. It was a teenager with blue hair, multiple earrings, and a nose ring. He had headphones on around his neck and was carrying a bulging leather briefcase. He was wearing a t-shirt that said, "My life, my party." Jack opened the door. Yes? I'm looking for Yogi. Is he around? Not at the moment. Are you a friend of his? Yeah, Pops. What gave it away? Look, tell him Snoop dropped by, will ya? Snoop? Jack's expression changed. He stepped onto the front porch and closed the door behind him. He whispered in the kid's ear. "We think we got bugs. The FBI's been here." Snoop nodded and whispered back, "Well, let's take a listen, shall we?" He stepped into the house, pulled out a mini antenna with multiple cross pieces. It looked like a wire Christmas tree without any needles. He turned it on, and a green light lit up on the end, near his hand. He put the headphones on and walked towards the corner of the house, making slow, sweeping gestures, as if he were in a sword fight with a ghost. It took him about 5 minutes to scan downstairs. Then he went upstairs and scanned every room, even the closets. After about 25 minutes, he came back down and checked the back porch and even the garage. He finished up in the kitchen, opening the cabinets. Then he checked the refrigerator. Whoa! Snoop got excited as he stared at the top shelf of the open fridge. "What is it? Bugs?" "No, Chinese leftovers." "Do you have any sweet and sour chicken in there by chance?" "Oh yeah, I think there's some in there. Help yourself." Snoop took out the leftover cartons and placed them on the kitchen table. "Put these in the microwave and zap them, will you?" He took off his headphones and placed the antenna back in the bag. "So far you're clean, except for the HKL. It's safe to talk, but there's one more thing I need to check." Jack followed Snoop outside to the phone box connection. He unscrewed the cover and attached alligator clips from a gadget in his hand to the connections inside the box. He hit a few numbers on the keypad and waited. "There you go. See that? All threes. You have the FBI listening to all your phone calls. Probably made a second connection at the community junction box, too. Be careful what you say on the house phones. Do you have a cell phone?" "Yeah, it's a Y-phone." "Yogi gave you one of his phones?" "I'm impressed. If you ever need me, I'm number 86 on the speed dial. Do you ever watch Get Smart on Nickelodeon? You know, Agent 86, Maxwell Smart." "No, I don't watch Nickelodeon, but I remember the original series." "Damn, Pops, how old are you?" Jack didn't answer and led the way back into the kitchen, where Snoop sat down and started to devour the leftovers. "So tell me, Snoop, where does a teenager buy listening devices and equipment like that? You find it online or something?" "Nah, I made it myself. I found the plans online, though. Where's the hot sauce?" "You kids are amazing. Who teaches you this stuff?" "Nobody. We search the internet for whatever we need and find out about it on our own. It's fun, like an experiment or a game. If you ever played in an online Doom tournament, you'd understand the excitement of creating new moves, doing the unexpected, trying new things that nobody else has ever done before. It's like always going through a different door than everybody else. Why always open the same door when you already know what's going on the other side? Where's the adventure in that?" Jack now understood this crazy kid a little better. Different doors, different paths, different roads. The excitement level in life is what you choose. These kids found a way to veer off destiny's path. They made their own destiny. "So, do I call you Snoop, Mr. Snoop, what?" "My real name is Desmond, but you can call me Snoop." "Okay, Snoop, here's the scoop." Jack waited for Snoop to acknowledge the rhyme, but his blank expression told him he didn't get it. "Yogi's been snatched by the DTs, and he left an encrypted message on the computer. Can you look at it and tell me what it says?" "DTs? Are you sure? Does Wheels know?" "Yes, but I need to know what this message says." He led Snoop to the computer screen. The screensaver had the castaway who had just eaten a fish and was using the fish bones to comb his hair. Jack moved the mouse to clear the screen. "Check this out." Snoop looked at the dots, then highlighted the line with the mouse. "See that? Look up here. Look at the font box. When I highlight the dots, the font box changes too. He changed all the font size, that's all." Snoop changed the font to 12, and the sentence magically appeared in plain English. "DT's just pulled up. Will force me to run lotto scam, which I can only access between 1 and 2 a.m. Hope I can trick them and get the bag back to help Jack. Yogi." Snoop was totally unaware. What lotto scam?" "Oh, it's, never mind. Thanks for snooping, Snoop." He grabbed Snoop by the arm and helped him with his equipment and escorted him to the front door. Snoop added, "Hey, are you sure there's nothing else I can do to help?" "If there is, I'll call you. Thanks again." As Jack closed the front door, he was already trying to solve the riddle about Yogi's note. He sat in a chair and looked over at the end table next to him at a picture of him and Em on one of their camping trips. He asked Em, why would Yogi type that message on the computer knowing that the FBI would see everything that he typed? Maybe he was sending a message to them on purpose? Let's see. DT's just pulled up. Probably will force me to run lotto scam, which I can only access between 1 to 2 a.m. Why would he be so specific, 1 to 2 a.m.? Maybe he's letting them know he will be breaking the law before he does it, and exactly when he will be hacking into the lotto computers. So they can trace the line back to him? He's telling them where he can be found. But wait a minute. They don't care about the lotto tickets. He knows that. Oh, here it is, the next line. I hope I can trick them and get the bag back to help Jack. The FBI wants the bag. He's throwing the bag line out there and hope they'll pick up on that. End chapter 11.